Today you will read a passage from Endymion Spring. As you read, pay close attention to the characters and events as you answer the questions to prepare, to write a narrative story. Again, read the passage from the novel Endymion Spring and then answer the questions. Let's begin. Endymion Spring by Matthew Skelton. Blake checked his watch. 36 minutes, and sighed. He tried walking backwards now, tapping the books in reverse order to see if this would help pass the time. A series of stern-looking portraits glared down at him from the walls. Like magicians, they were dressed in dark capes and had sharp, pointy beards. Elaborate ruffs, like squash chrysanthemums, burst from their collars. The older men had jaded eyes and tortoise-like skin, but there were also a few pale-faced boys like himself. He glanced at their nameplates. Thomas Sternold, Jeremiah Wood, Isaac Wilts, Lucius St. Boniface de la Croix. Each man was holding a small book and pointing to a relevant passage with a forefinger, as though reminding future generations to remain studious and well-behaved. Blake disregarded their frowns of disapproval and continued running his fingers along the books, rapping the spines with the back of his knuckles. All of a sudden, he stopped. One of the volumes had struck him back, like a cat. It had taken a playful swipe at his fingers and ducked back into hiding. He whisked his hand away, as though stung. He looked at his fingers, but couldn't see anything unusual. They were smeared with dust, but there was no obvious mark or injury on his skin. Then he looked at the books to see which one had leaped out at him, but they all seemed pretty ordinary, too. Just row upon row of crumbly old volumes, like toy soldiers in leather uniforms standing to attention, except that one of them had tried to force its way into his hand. He stuck out his finger thoughtfully. A thin trail of blood, like a paper cut, was forming where the book had nicked his knuckle. All around him, the library was sleeping in the hot, still afternoon. Shafts of sunlight hung in the air like dusty curtains, and a clock ticked somewhere in the distance, a ponderous sound that seemed to slow down time. Small footsteps crept along the floorboards above. That was probably his sister Duck, investigating upstairs, but no one else was around. Only Mephistopheles, the college cat, a sinewy black shadow with claws as sharp as pins, was sunbathing on a strip of carpet near the window, and he only cared about one thing: himself. As far as Blake could tell, he was entirely alone, apart, that is, from whatever was lurking on the shelf. Slowly, cautiously, he ran his fingers along the books again. "Blake!" his mother hissed. Her face had appeared from the office doorway. She was checking up on him, as usual, just when he was on the point of disobeying her. Paula Richards, the librarian, stood behind her, smiling amiably. "What did I tell you?" his mother scolded him. "You're not to touch the books. They're fragile, rare, and in some cases, extremely valuable. Now pick up that book carefully and go find your sister. I won't be much longer." Blake looked down, surprised. There in front of him, face down on the floor, was an unremarkable brown leather volume he hadn't noticed before. It seemed to be waiting for him to turn it over.